Okay, so we just arrived, found a great little campsite at the foot of this marshy body of water, and we're all camping out right here. Chris is right behind me, my rig's there, and Kirk here is hanging out this direction. And we're gonna have a fire, as you can see here, kind of start getting it going here. And the marsh is right over there, and it's a big bowl, scoops out, and then it goes up to a big wet bench. And there's some old growth forest in there, and there's no road access to that side for a long ways. And so we're just gonna feel it out tonight in this location. We're at the top of a little precipice rising out of a canyon, and this is like a little scoop in the top before it transitions to several bench pathways that go up and on into the forest, and it goes for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. So, but we're in a good spot, so we're gonna get set up. Got Chris here putting out his thermal imager to monitor the edge in the perimeter of camp. We already got audio deployed and running, and so hopefully we're totally covered for the night if anything does happen. The plan tonight is to just be a bunch of dumb campers, just hanging out and laughing, talking, just being the spectacle. We're it's kind of like a little mini amphitheater, so we're hoping to just draw something in and that we're the show. All right, as you can see, we have our fire and our wood, and our camp is set up. Got our rigs parked and got our canopy here with our lights underneath and our tent. Everything's set up. Just a great setup. And we're gonna go check out. We got Kirk and Chris over here. Chris is making venison steak and morels that we picked earlier today. We found a nice little honey hole, and it was located, you'd love to know, but I'm not going to tell you.
Well, and the deer came from the same spot we got the morels, so.
Yeah. Again, not going to tell you where, for obvious reasons.
The deer may have been eating morels.
Well, his relatives are probably eating them right now.
So yeah, this is how you do it in style, guys. And we got butter, because you need butter.
Yeah, don't buy whipped butter like Nathaniel did.
I admitted I didn't know what I was doing, thank you very much. But we got, I'm sure it's going to taste good all the same. We got Kirk over here.
Stove looks terrible.
Master Chef Chris. Spencer.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got everything all set up. Look at this. This is how masters do what they do. Look at that. Got Salt Bay going on over here.
It's all in the wrist. The way he was sprinkling the salt on perfectly.
Yeah.
Evenly.
Look at this. Oh man. To those at home watching, this is living life. Not sitting at home just on the computer 24/7. You got to get out and do stuff. This is good stuff. Just had a barred owl go off outside of our camp, just over this little marshy lake thing.
Thanks for the lesson, bud.
And now we're gonna go enjoy the fire and hope that something smells our grub and hears us making noise and comes in and checks us out. Kirk's pumped to be here. The plan in the morning is to get up and just start exploring the area, go down some old skid roads and see if there's anything going on around, see what the animal life. Yeah, so this is kind of like a mini expedition into the area. Like I've been up this road before, but we've not really explored this whole area out, so this is the first time that we're really taking the time to kind of see what's up. There's been reports out of this area. As a matter of fact, this little marsh thing right next to us There's been reports here by huckleberry pickers that had experiences in the summertime. And then down below near one of the bridges we crossed, somebody found snow tracks back in the early 2000s. So, or near, right around 2010. And so, yeah, it's a great area, really remote, really way back in the woods, and there's just not a lot of human activity in here right now. So, fingers crossed, something happens. Alright, well, it's morning in our camp spot. I didn't hear much. Something woke me up at one point, but I wasn't sure what it was. It was around 4 a.m. I heard something. I'm not sure. At least it felt like I did, unless I dreamed it. But yeah, as you can see, I've gotten up here and I got a roaring fire going. And it's morning. Up in the ridge behind me is all glowed up. And it's very cold. It got down to like 28 degrees. It's like 32 right now. There's ice on everything. So, but yeah, I got a nice fire going here. Very nice fire. Already lit up. And I've warmed up for a minute. And Kirk, I think, is still out. Chris is up. Chris is gonna make some coffee over there. But I'll show you our view down by our section of this marsh here. So I'll walk you guys down here. Check this out. It's full of cattails. Cattails are edible to humans. But it's full of all kinds of water plants. So as you can see, we're in a great big marsh, and you can see the ridge up there just glowing up. There's a little bit of snow up there at the very top. See if you can zoom in on that. You should be able to just barely see that snow up there. But yeah, it's pretty, very beautiful. This is a great resource. It's loaded with skunk cabbage and a variety of other water plants. And there's all these old snags standing up in here. But yeah, this is the morning up here, glowing up. And there's a rocky ledge up there too, right in there. So, pretty interesting. But yeah. So with that, I'm going to go on a short walk here in just a minute and do a little bit of exploring and see what I can find. But that's our view. Man, it's a beautiful, crisp morning. And there's so many options to go explore up here, so today's going to be pretty much a free-for-all. Got some ideas on the map where I want to go. That skid road to the right. I know where that goes, and I'm thinking about putting a recorder up there, an audio recorder. And then up this way, some pretty cool remote roads as well. So I'm going to be checking it all out. So this whole area is really marshy and really wet. It's on a big ledge, and these marshes produce a fantastic little holdup for nutrition. Basically collects a type of fertilizer that comes out of the forest and washes down with everything. And it makes these large openings where the water collects. And if the water and the nutrients collect, it then allows for other kinds of ecosystems to get established, like this. This is what is known as skunk cabbage. It's a very, very prevalent kind of bulbous plant that grows in the water, and it loves these wet, marshy areas. And elk love it. All kinds of animals love it. Bear love it. And it's kind of a big deal to find. It means that there's a lot of food around when you find this kind of stuff. But yeah. And this is the backside of the marsh. And it goes back into an open body of water over that direction. So, but yeah, it's just worth noting. Like, this is a resource. And if, Sasquatches might be able to take advantage of this kind of thing as well. We do notice that sightings do cluster up in marshy wetland areas that host this plant. So, pretty cool. But before I fall in, I'm going to get back up on the bank here. All right, so we're all packed up just about here. Just take the tent down, and then we're off to go explore and find some other places to put some cameras and some audio recorders for the next month. And we're out of here. All right, so we've gone as far as the road can really allow us to go with my rig. It's a new rig, and I haven't fully tested its capabilities yet, so I don't really know if it could handle this just yet. We're not going to take any chances without all the off-roading equipment. But yeah, we've gone up just about as far as we can reasonably go, but we're going to go up ahead and check out a couple promising campsite spots that are really, really cool looking. So we're going to head up and see if anything of interest is up there. We already found some really neat other camps down below, as I'm sure you saw. Hey. And so we're just exploring, and we're going to see what we find. Hopefully find some Sasquatch tracks. That'd be nice.
And have a snowball fight.
Okay, so we've hiked into this area. We're exploring for camps, and we found a really cool illustration of basically a moment in time where animals go through the landscape, and then the snow keeps coming down, and it's compressing into ice, and you're like, well, those tracks are gone. Well, they're not always gone. And in some cases, like this one, you can see that there's these little blobs in the snow here. So check this out. We saw this first, this little elevated peg. This is actually what the remnants of a pad of a foot pushing in like that, like a little bobcat when this snow was soft, registering here. And then I saw something here, and then here's one. And notice how they keep getting bigger. And here's one, and there's one. That one's foot-shaped. That's shaped like a little bobcat. Pads here, toes. And again, it's just the compressed, shrunken, and melted down plate of where the pressure went in. And then that froze and then contracted. And you can see that here too. Here's a very clear one. Here's the pad. Toe, 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 and toe. Here's one. There's one. There's one. And they continue on and on. And here is the ice plate itself. I pulled this one out earlier. This is a whole bobcat track. The pad be down here and the toes are all up here. And that it was going this direction. So you can see one there, 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 there. And if you stand in line with it, Kirk, go ahead and stand right here and look down this trackway. You can see right where he walked. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, all the way down. And if Sasquatches were using the snow country, you would be seeing this. You would be seeing where they walked like this with their weight, because they have a big bendable foot, right? But they're still walking on snow, and they're heavy. They would leave a compressed ice plate behind in areas like this, whether they cross the road or use the road or whatever. So, and again, the conditions have to be within a range for it to come to that. But we would be finding more of that kind of thing if Sasquatches were actually up here in the snow line, up high. And because we're above 3,400 feet right now. And so just a little thing to learn about, like if you're finding tracks or seeing these little things right here, they're indicators of tracks a lot of the time.
You'd see them.
Yeah, you would find some kind of registration where they're coming out of canyons and up and crossing roads and going up and down slopes if they were a snow country animal, which is not, there's no indication of that because we don't have a swath of snow ice plate tracks of 17-inch long, melted out, long stride compression pathways. There's not a lot of them.
And that's talking like here in Western Washington where they have other areas to go. If
Yeah,
you're in the
exactly.
Midwest and they can't get out of the snow.
That is true.
Then,
And again, this is all in application to like the Cascade Range, or even maybe similar to what you see in the Rocky Mountain Range, on over into Idaho and Montana and stuff like that. But in general, this is kind of stuff to watch for. And occasionally, that's not to say Sasquatches don't occasionally do this. They absolutely do. We have found trackways every great once in a while. And it's part of what hinges my argument on the fact that they must be extremely low number, low density animals operating in this area. Because if they weren't, we'd be finding more stuff like what you see my tracks right here. You'd see Sasquatches leaving behind things like that more regularly. So it's just an interesting little tracking tidbit for those of you outdoor enthusiasts looking to see more in the landscape, and figured that was worth sharing. So this is the kind of spot that I really get excited about. Look at this beautiful mountain stream cutting down through here. And as you can see right here, this is all salmonberry growing in here. It's a salmonberry, and then you got red huckleberry, you got skunk cabbage popping up right here, and you just have this beautiful platform, and it's just loaded with food. And the water is like crystal clear, clean, and there's food everywhere. There's all varieties of fruiting plants. If you look up this corridor here, it's just all salmonberry all the way up. So this is a travel corridor, a food resource, and just an area that stays cool no matter the temperature, because all the rushing cold air just coming sweeping down. It's truly a little oasis / highway. So this is a great kind of area, and it gets plenty of sun in here in the summer. Kind of an open, mossy floored canopy, really easy to walk through. This is exactly the kind of place to hang out if you were a Sasquatch. All right, so we've explored this area pretty thoroughly. We found a variety of really awesome campsites that will be available as soon as the snow melts. And this area does have a long history of reports. Stuff down by one of the lower marshes that I was talking about, a trackway in the winter time, or early spring you could say, late March of the early to mid 2000s, and some road crossings at the bottom near the primary road in. So there's a good reason to come back. There's a lot of area to explore. We're on the doorstep to several different wilderness areas. Kirk is especially excited. So yeah, well, so we're making our way back to the rigs now. I wanted to deploy some long-term audio, just do a survey of the area ahead of time, just to see if we pick anything up already happening up in the area. We're trying to get below the snow though, so yeah, that's that. There's a little pika under that rock right there, and he's just hanging out. See if we can zoom in on him. He's right there in the middle of the screen now.
oh, I see him now.
He's cute. Oh, look at him, Kirk.
I think he likes you.
I think so. He's not scared of nothing. Look at him. This is really close. Oh, he just rubbed on that rock. Oh, did you see that?
Yes.
So what they're doing is they're dispersing their scent. They're kind of like marking their territory.
Right.
He's telling me off. Him doing that right in front of me is just telling me this is my spot. Ooh. This is truly stunning stuff. Look at this, guys.
It's can't take my eyes off it except to look at you guys. But you got an avalanche chute there and water drainage from the melting snow.
Wow. That is some beautiful.
Clear sky, nice temperatures.
You don't get better.
No. Go away so I can keep looking this way. We're watching Nathan now. He's deploying a long-term audio recorder. It's a unit that he constructed himself.
This is the DM720 model. It allows for timer recording and bus power via this D-cell extension pack that wires down to just the fake AAA. So this is what you would need to do long duration audio recording up to 40 days on the cheap.
Micro SD card.
There we go. Power it up. And I'm going to set the time, the date, and the recording parameters on this alkaline. Set time and date. So it is April 13th, 2025 at 1:10 p.m. So I've got 221 hours in 320 by 320 MP3, but I'm going to go down to 128, I think. Well, actually, I think I'll just run the 210 because that gives me 21 nights easy of 10-hour nights, and if I go 25 nights in 8-hour shifts, that's fine. Okay, so menu, go into record settings, record mode, MP3 320, and then I'm going to go down to timer, which should be here, timer recording. I'm going to go to, I'm going to turn it off first to set the parameters. Day, every day, time, it's going to start at 8:30 p.m. end at, we'll just say 7, because it's more than light out by 7.
AM.
Yeah.
Okay.
320 MP3 folder, micro SD card. We'll go to folder A, record level high, and I'm using external mics with this, by the way, which I will plug in a moment. And then I'm going to turn the setting back on, and she's good to go. And now I'll just back out, hit the stop button.
And you've done that a few times.
Oh yeah.
You seem to know all the menus.
Yep. And so we're ready.
And you just plugged in your omnidirectional stereo mics.
Yes. So I use, I have a couple people that make these external mics, and this is my favorite. It's an omnidirectional, so it picks up 180 degrees of the element. It's not a focused microphone, and that's what we want when we're surveying a large area like this. Okay, so with that, I'm going to put this little dude in here, stand that guy up, or lay it down rather, shove it all the way down to the end. I try to keep a little silica absorber in here, as well as some tissue, just something to absorb moisture and keep it away from the components at night. And yeah, and then we seal her up.
Now, wait, open that back up. What's with the...
So I just
coating?
used aluminum tape because what this does is this aluminum tape will draw the moisture instead of settling in the metal components of the electronics. It'll try to gravitate toward the outside, which I'd rather have. And it also, some people would say if this device does emit any kind of EMF field, it's going to potentially dampen it.
So like you built a Faraday cage.
Yeah, it's basically a Faraday cage to some extent for this unit. And so that one is set. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go hang it up in the tree.
And what we're trying to get is all these valleys that I'm showing you now and the ridges. If anything were to vocalize from those areas, Nathan's audio recorder will pick it up. And this is where he's putting it. He's going to strap it onto that tree.
This one right here.
Because as you could probably hear while we were recording Nathan demonstrating or showing his audio recorder, the creek noise from down in the valley could be heard pretty well.
It's pretty overwhelming.
But now by moving just a little bit, 20, 30 feet off the edge, it severely decreases the creek noise.
I garnish my units to just further obscure everything.
And to help redirect some water,
Yeah,
rainwater.
absolutely. And that's that. And so now that will just sit there for the next at least 24 days recording. And I've got one mic pointed that way and one pointed that way in line with the valley. And the inputs are matched for the left and right, like on the recording unit, so I always know. All right, and with that, we're gonna get out of this place.
Let's dish this joint.
Yeah.
We just showed you earlier the most likely bobcat tracks that left the ice plates in the snow. And then we found this. It's an ice plate of an obvious primate. It looks like a footprint or shoe print. Kind of small though. Here's my hand next to it. But that's not the only one. There are more up here. There's another one. The lighting conditions aren't the best. There's one. Here's one in the shade. And these are all ice plates from when whatever made these stepped. That's a good one. They stepped in the snow and compressed it, and then that compressed snow beneath the weight of the track maker then becomes this ice that melts slower than the snow around it. Well, here's some more. Now, I'm going with, it's probably people were up here exploring mostly because of this track right here. Hard to see, but this one looks a little bigger than the rest of them, and it definitely looks like it has a heel imprint, a shoe with a little elevated heel. But they're interesting. They showed what we were talking about earlier, the compression ice that they formed. And it's all right here close to this amazing waterfall. There's the waterfall. And this is the snow where those tracks are.
All right, so we've come out to this area, we've explored, we've found a variety of great locations, and we've got the audio deployed up this valley pathway. Chris also has another long-term recorder that he deployed the other evening overlooking that marsh area. And so we're covering audio in two different directions. The north-south area with a bench, we got that covered, and now we're covering the inside of this drainage that can hear both ways this direction. So we're covering a very wide section of territory, and we will be back. This area's got some fantastic opportunities for future research, and we're going to survey with the audio, come back in a couple of weeks, pull it, and see if there's anything on there that can better guide us to where animals might be spending time, or even where the Sasquatches are spending time. So with that, we're going to head out of here and get home. Till next time, guys.